Hello, I'm Richard Rather.
And I'm Margaret Rather.
We are married, so social distancing doesn't apply here.
Stuck with each other in quarantine. And no one's killed anyone yet.
What is it about Ray Bradbury?
I first met up with Ray Bradbury in 8th grade. Hey, Mr. Turning. My English teacher introduced us to a short story from The Illustrated Man, a collection of Bradbury short stories. And I immediately went out and got the paperback and read all the stories. And then I read R is for Rocket, and then I read S is for Science, and I read The Martian Chronicles. And I think I've pretty much read everything Ray Bradbury's ever written. You could call me a fan. So as we were looking for material for the podcast, I have been haunting the short story collection on Project Gutenberg. I wasn't expecting to find Bradbury there, but in fact, some very early stories of his that were published in pulp magazines, he did allow the copyright to lapse. He wrote Morgue Ship when he was 24. In adapting it, there were some modifications to do. He refers to telephoning from one deck of the ship to the other. And the biggest thing I did, of course, was change Sam to Samantha because it's the future. Come on.
After there are space battles, there's the Morgue Ship that comes along and collects the bodies that are still floating around in space.
Yes. One of the more serious things I did when I was looking to adapt this was read a pretty in-depth article about the people who have the duty for bringing back the dead from Afghanistan, which is done very ceremonially and, with honor guards and every step of the way with great respect. Extrapolating from that, yes, this is a future intergalactic war, and there is a morgue ship, a sort of an aging cargo ship that trundles along long after the battle has moved to another sector and retrieves bodies that are floating in space have ruptured spacesuits.
All of our episodes are actually audio plays.
Yes.
Not just strictly reading the short story. So that means a great deal of it has been converted into dialogue and action as opposed to narrative form.
Yeah. A lot of my published plays were all adaptations. That is the challenge and the joy of writing a play, is telling a story in dialogue. Although, in the case of a podcast, I can certainly keep the narrative voice. In this case, Sam is telling the story, Samantha. She's really pondering on putting in for a discharge. She's kind of hitting the wall on this duty. She's been at it almost 20 years. And she has a new commander, and it's just a 2-person crew on the ship, the Chiron. And she says he's shiny and new, and she hasn't got the heart to tell him what a crap assignment he's landed. So she's kind of at a turning point when, of course, events happen on this final voyage. You do hear her narrative voice, and that was one of the challenges in sound editing, was to make it clear when she is talking aloud to her commanding officer and when she is just reflecting on her interior monologue to us.
And I think that's important, particularly when you're adapting somebody like Ray Bradbury, because
he's a wizard with words.
Yeah.
That's one of the joys.
You don't want to cut all of those descriptions out.
No, and he talks about the stars with wheeling and their unending dance and slow cartwheeling bodies. It's all golden. You don't want to lose any of that. So I was trying to strike a balance there between Sam reflecting internally, and of course the dialogue that happens between her and the other two characters.
And then creating the world in which the script takes place in through sound effects and
I did warn you.
Yes.
He does all the sound editing.
I do all the sound editing. So there was a lot of adding in of the spaceship, the mechanics of the spaceship.
The airlock, the computers, the diagnostic machine in the lab.
Even a fight scene that I had to create sound for. So,
it's a lot of fun.
That's Morgue Ship. A little bit of background about that. Check it out. Let us know what you think. You like what we're doing, please go to our Patreon page and become a patron of Mysterious Journey. That really helps us out.
And you can do that by going to our website, which is that's plural, artistsensemble.org. You'll see a donate button or a become a patron button, which will take you to our Patreon page. Support starts at $5 a month. We'd really appreciate it. It helps us keep going during this time when all stages are dark.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time here at Mysterious Journey.